Thank you, Danielle. It is time for the headliner presented by Miller Lite. Let's welcome in Tiger broadcaster, former player, 68 world champion, Jim Price. And Jim, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to this interview. I think at this point in your career, you probably think that you have seen it all from player to broadcaster. I am kind of curious. How has this pandemic impacted you and your broadcast?
Well, it's my whole career has been football, basketball, and baseball as an athlete, and I played a long time in the minor leagues. I played in the big leagues with some of the greatest teams in Tiger history. But to go through what they're going through here, first of all, I'm surprised that we're playing baseball, but I understand some of the precautions they put in. I think they're trying to do the right job, and I have a feeling we'll get through this season, and hopefully the Tigers can get in the playoffs because that's really what it's all about. But never seen anything like it. The Tigers have been great. The precautions that they have set up for Dan and me here in the broadcast booth is better than anybody, as I'm sure. And we're just extra cautious. But every day you wake up and you say, now what's going to happen next? In other words, I woke up today and found out we're going to make up those 4 games with the Cardinals. Then I also come to the ballpark and find out the Cardinals added a couple more people on the list with the COVID. So it's like every day is different. And you just know what's going to happen day to day. Look what the Miami Marlins did with 18 players in their minor leagues, their names that the manager didn't even know. They went in and swept Baltimore. So it's been something for the ages, no question, Art.
Well, yeah, it definitely is. By the way, how are you feeling? You look absolutely great. I wish I looked as good as you look.
But let me tell you, everybody knows I've had health issues, and I still have cancer. But in one kidney, but I've had the greatest doctors in the world, and my wife is a saint. She saved my life, and I have not felt this good, I'm going to say, in 10 to 12 years. It's unbelievable. I was 260, and now I'm 220, number one, which helps a lot. And but I'm eating right. I'm on a certain type of diet, and I'm being taken care of by wonderful doctors and a wonderful saint called my wife. And I'm very lucky. I look at each day as you wake up. You appreciate waking up and say, boy, I got to have another day. But I figure I can broadcast another 5 or 6 years, and I got a long time to live. I'm even going to start playing golf again. That's how good I feel.
Well, that's great. That's great news, Jim. I can't tell you how happy I am to hear that. The 68 Tigers are my team. That's what I tell everybody. I was in 6th grade when you guys won it. My mom let me stay home and watch the game actually on television from school. My dad never knew that, but anyway, she did. And
a lot of kids do that.
I remember back then all the games were played in the afternoon. World Series games. They weren't at night, but. What are your memories of that 68 club? Because really, if you're a Tiger fan of a certain age, they were an iconic team.
Well, I always like to quote the great Willie Horton. Willie always said, you know what, if you want to play a 1-1 run game, we'll beat you. You want a slugfest, we'll beat you. You want to fight, you're really in trouble. And that's really the type of team we were. We were tough. We were crazy. But we knew how to play the game. And we had the great Al Kaline. We had Mickey Stanley, Willie. We had a great ball club. Norm Cass, Dick McAuliffe, the great Bill Freehand, who should be in the Hall of Fame. We had guys that knew how to play the game. And I was added in '67, kind of the last straw that, hopefully helped that team to win those years. And but we were a close-knit team. We did a lot of things together off the field. And, we were young and crazy. I'm not going to make any excuses that we were perfect. We weren't perfect. But when the bell rang, we played the game the right way. And, we made the plays. We knew how to play the game. We knew the fundamentals. And when you have a Hall of Famer like Al Kaline and you have great players like Cash and Willie and, Dick McAuliffe, who was a great player at second base, and Bill, we were good. We really were good. We had great pitching, Lolich and McClain, Earl Wilson, Joe Sparma, and we had great bullpen, John Hiller, and Pat Dobson, a lot of great names that knew how to prepare for a game and knew how to stay ready for a game. And in those days, Mickey Lolich would start and then maybe relieve the next day. And look what happened to Denny McClain's arm. He pitched so much there wasn't much left. We got to the World Series because he threw so many innings and threw so many games. So it was just a special team. When you put the right people together that knew how to play the game, first of all, the right people, then the fellows that knew how to play the game, that's the combination you want.
Right. Well, there's no doubt. Like I said, the 68 Tigers, near and dear to my heart. I'll never forget what you guys accomplished, as I said, on and off the field. Jim, being a catcher, we've talked about when we look at the Tigers this season that the addition of Austin Romine has been huge for this pitching staff. Can you talk about that pitcher-catcher relationship and what has Austin Romine brought to the Tigers, do you think, this season?
Well, first of all, he brought credibility. He played on really good teams in New York. He came with a reputation that he was good behind the plate, that he handled pitchers well. And that's the thing that I've seen that really stands out to me. He has that calming influence that you have to have with pitchers, because I kid about pitchers, they're kind of goofy. And I love them dearly, but they're kind of goofy, and they have this mental makeup that you really have to treat each one differently. And I think that's one of the things that stands out for our new catcher. I think Romine's done an unbelievable job knowing each pitcher, when to talk to them, when not to talk to them. When sometimes throw the ball back if you're not happy with the pitch, or give that glove sign, way to go, that's what I wanted. But in between innings, leave them alone, or sometimes sit down next to them and talk to them a little and say, hey, that breaking ball is not too good. Let's put it away for a little bit. Let's stay with the fastball and the changeup for a little bit. Then we'll come back to the breaking ball, and I think it's okay. So to me, it's that type of relationship. And I know the pitchers look forward to him catching for them, and that really says it all.
Well, now you're making me go back again, because I mean, when you were a catcher, you had some characters. I wonder how would you characterize? And you and I both have a history with Denny McClain. I was his producer for a number of years. Denny in '68 was 31-6. I mean,
Right.
when a guy is in that kind of groove, do you talk to him much? Did you let Denny go, or was Denny kind of was he kind of a chatterbox?
Well, Denny was Denny. First of all, he had great stuff. He had 4 pitches he could throw at any count at any time, and he challenged the hitters. And that's why we like to play behind him, because he got the ball and he threw it, and he knew what he was doing with it. And I remember going out the mound. I'm not sure I think it was in Boston, when Yaz hit a couple balls off changeups, and late in the game I said, Denny, he's been on that changeup. He said, really? Tell him he's getting another changeup. Of course, I didn't tell him that, but we threw a changeup and he popped it up. So, Denny was that great pitcher who had great stuff. And he had a riding fastball. I say, probably threw in the low 90s, but it was like I could say with Dan on the air, it was 90, not just 90, because it had that riding action to it, late movement, I like to talk about. And then he had the curveball, the slider, and the change. And Johnny, our pitching coach, the great pitching coach that we had, Johnny Sane, taught him the slider, and he just became a really good. Those years, what he did was phenomenal, really was.
Great, because I want to go to Mickey Lolich too, who won 3 games in the '68 World Series. Yeah. Obviously, so the 7th game beat the great Bob Gibson. Were they different? I mean, Mickey was basically a strikeout pitcher, if I can remember, or it seemed he was racking up a lot of strikeouts.
Well, Mickey was a power pitcher. He was a drop and drive guy. His favorite comment, I love his favorite comment, when somebody says, "Hey, you're not out there running to stay in shape." He said, I don't run the ball across the plate. I pitch the ball across the plate. I throw every day. And Mickey threw hard. I would say Mickey was 96, 97 probably. And he had a hard slider. And he was tough to catch, because he asked Bill Freehand and me to split the outside part of the plate with our body. And he threw to our knees and our shoulders. So if he would throw a slider down and into a right-hand hitter, you had to be ready to get in there very quickly, because he threw so hard. And he took no quarter. He was in charge out there. I remember one time walking out towards the mound late in the game, had a little problem. I got out there halfway, and he says, "Get back where you belong." I said, "Yes, sir, Mr. Lowy." So I went back behind the plate, and he finished the game and had no trouble at all. He was tough to catch. He threw a heavy ball.
Well, okay. Well, all right. I'm going to quit going down memory lane, because I could talk to you the whole interview about your career and those Tiger clubs. But looking at this Tigers team thus far, I don't know if they're a bit of a surprise, but the MLB pipeline came out. Their minor leagues, Jim, maybe for the first time ever, rated the best in baseball.
Right.
5 of the top 51 prospects are Tigers. Mize and Torkelson are 7 and 8 respectively in the top 10. Your impressions thus far of the Tigers and some of the young talent that they have?
Well, they're loaded with young talent, and I think Al did it the right way. He went after arms first of all, because it all starts with pitching, and he went after arms first, and they were loaded with arms. And then the last couple of years, especially this year, went after bats. So that's a pretty good combination. And when you have the first pick so many years in a row, you better pick right, and the Tigers picked right. and not only with their first picks, but their second, third, fourth. They did a great job, in my opinion. And to see the athletes that we have, the size, the quickness, the power with the arms that we have, and the speed of the players, also the offensive players, I think has really stood out. Also, you have a lot of players that not just have the power, but they can run. And when you can run and you can hit with power and you can do all those small things, know how to slide, know how to wait for your pitch and everything, and that from a catching standpoint, have a pitcher that wants that ball and wants to go out there and pitch every fifth day. Now it's fifth day, I almost messed up, it's every fourth day, but it's every fifth day. And they have some folks, as everybody knows, I don't have to mention the names, but led by Mize, who I thought was phenomenal at times I've seen him. But I think they're certainly on the right track. I mean, the fans have cheered hard for years now, looking for a winner. And I think Al and his staff have done a great job putting together, again, their prospects. And I always tell everybody, prospects are prospects. Can they play? That's what we need to find out. Can they play? And then the best chance to give you a prospect to play by getting the top draft choices like the Tigers have. And I would say that the draft picks that they've made in recent years, they're going to be good, plus they're going to be able to play, in my opinion, because too many times you have players on teams that, can't play. They can hit the ball 9 miles in batting practice. When the game comes, they strike out. They can throw through a barn wall, and when they warm up as a pitcher and get in the game, they choke. So you're looking for the mental part plus all the other ingredients it takes to make a great major leaguer. And I think that's what the Tigers have done, and have done a terrific job.
I know we touched upon it. We both are hopeful and think that this 60-game schedule is going to be played in its entirety. My battle cry, and I know the crew's going to hate me because I'm going to say this again, but I look at where the Tigers are and some of this young talent. I look at a 60-game schedule and I say, why not the Tigers? Why can't they compete this year? Am I full of it, Jim, or do you see potential for this season?
No, you're not full of it, Art. I mean, look, we all root for the Tigers, but also we root the right way. We're looking. We haven't seen all the teams. We know the Central Division's tough with the Twins, especially Cleveland, great pitching, Chicago loaded. It's going to be a dogfight. But I think the thing about the team, they will not go away easy, and that's the thing that you like about this ball club. They have those threats with the home runs. You can't live by the home run. I like the other day when they had rallies. That's really going to win ball games for you. But I think the potential is certainly there to, hey, anything can happen this year, and I have great hopes that they can start in playing better. They lost in tough series at home, but when you go into Pittsburgh, you have to go in there thinking you can sweep because they're hurting. And that's the type of thing, the mental part that Gardy is in charge of. These guys got to realize we're going to Pittsburgh. They're hurting. They're struggling. They have a lot of new kids. We have to go in there and think not 2 out of 3, but 3 out of 3. So if they can keep, I think the mental attitude led by a great manager, in my opinion, and some of the best coaches I've ever been around, I think they give that opportunity for this team to be scary, and we'll see what happens. I would like to see them in the playoffs, of course, but we'll see. It's kind of early, but we'll see. Who knows? Who knows?
Jim, you were such a terrific player. You're such an outstanding broadcaster, but I need to ask you about maybe perhaps the greatest thing you've ever done. I would imagine is Jack's Place Foundation for Autism. Can you update fans about that? Is there anything coming up? I know these are difficult times that maybe fans should be aware of.
No, there's nothing coming up. It's difficult times. It's hard to raise money. We started Jack's Place. We were the first to do it 18 years ago. We found out about our son, Jack, who is on the spectrum. And Lisa and I decided maybe we can do something to help other people. And we did, led by my wife and some great employees and great people. It all started with friends of mine from the fantasy camp that are still on our board of directors. And we got it started. We raised lots of money. But we spent the money all through the state of Michigan. Didn't leave our state. This is a situation where we would never do anything out of state. Other states called us for information, how we did things. But we did things all over the state, and I know we've helped people. We've given scholarships. You name. We've done everything. But right now, very difficult to raise money. We understand that. So it's a difficult time, and we're always looking for hope that somebody will have a big heart and say, hey, let's help Jack's Place. Jack's Place for Autism.com. Can check us out. And but again, it's really been my wife and great employees and wonderful fantasy campers that really built this foundation up to be so successful for so many years, and it wasn't easy, but we had help from a lot of people, a lot of sincere people, led really by the Tigers, really helped us a lot, and the management here has been spectacular. And I remember an event we had at Joe Lewis, Mr. Illich, and Mrs. Illich were there, and Alaville was dancing with Mrs. Illich, and it's just, and Miggy, was dancing with Mrs. Illich. It was just great times that we had. But it's difficult to do those things now, and we don't have anything coming up at all. What we may do is we have some signed jerseys from like Jack Morris and people like that we may put up for sale to help raise some money, and some other former Tigers, that we hope that we can maybe make a little money for the foundation. So anybody that knows Jack's place, the work we've done. But thank you for asking, Art.
Well, hey, it's my pleasure, Jim. I wish we could continue this conversation, and we will pick it up at another point. I really appreciate it. I've known you a long time. You're one of my favorite people. Continued good luck, continued good health, and thanks for joining us today on The Headliner, Jim. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Art, you have the passion. That's why I was really glad to do it. You really do, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jim. That means a lot to me coming from you. Thank you.
Thank you, my man.
All right. Yeah, thank you. There you have it. That is The Headliner, brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light beer with great taste and only 96 calories, available for delivery. Jim Price, I say it all the time, Daniela, but I truly mean it. They're not better than Jim Price. Back to you.